happened during a Department of Defense mission, and they flew together during that mission. Can you guys talk, well, you guys can't talk about the classified stuff, but can you talk a little bit about, that mission and working together?
Well, that was quite a challenge working with Mullane. Now that I've listened to your story about 41D, I guess I flew 5 really boring missions. Now 27 was an interesting flight, and for 5 years after the mission, we were not allowed to acknowledge that we had dropped off a satellite in orbit. And this was a top secret classified DoD mission. And we finally, after 5.5 years, they let us have the medals that we were awarded for it, because that was secret as well. And it was not a CIA mission, but the CIA awarded us the National Intelligence Medal of Achievement. So I told my wife, this proves I've achieved intelligence. She was pleased with that. It was a fascinating flight. And in fact, this shirt went with me on STS 27. And we did deploy, we're allowed to say this now, the citation and anything in it was declassified. We deployed a major new intelligence satellite using the robot arm. Mike was our arm operator. We separated away, and then there was a problem with it, and we had to do an unplanned re-rendezvous with it and help fix it, and then we separated away, and it went on to a completely successful career. However, the day after we deployed the satellite, Mission Control called us and said, hey guys, this is going to sound kind of like what happened to Columbia. They said, hey guys, from the launch footage, we saw something hit your right wing. We want you to take the arm, the shuttle's arm, the RMS, remote manipulator system, and take a look at your right wing and tell us what you see. And I'll never forget how the manipulator has a camera on the end of it, so we're able to look at the wing. And I'll never forget, we brought up the image on the TV on board, and I said to myself, we are going to die, because we could see an incredible amount of tile damage on the right wing. And in fact, we had 770 damaged tiles on the orbit. We couldn't see the one missing tile. We had one tile that was gone. And so I called Mission Control and I said, okay, hey, we're seeing a lot of damage on the right wing. Well, DoD didn't want us to send down any TV at all because the mission was so highly classified. Well, they finally relented and said we could send encrypted TV down. Well, encrypted TV shoots a frame, takes about 3 seconds to encrypt it and send it, shoots another frame, 3 seconds. So the resolution is so poor that down on the ground, there was a rather huge failure to communicate on the part of Mission Control. And, I hate to have to say this, but it's true. Mission Control concluded those boys aren't seeing tile damage, those are just lights and shadows that they're seeing. Well, what are they forgetting? On board, I'm looking at live TV. Down on the ground, they're looking at encrypted TV. Now, where the failure to communicate happened was, they never said to us, you're not seeing tile damage, you're just seeing lights and shadows. If they had, I would have said, okay, we're sending you clear TV. But they didn't. All they did was, they looked at it for a day, and they called us up the next day, and they said, okay, we've got the resolution on your tile damage. And Mike and I said, okay, go ahead. And they said, it's no problem, re-enter just like always.
Oh, great.
And I came to Mike and I said, Dave Hilmers was our captain. I said, Dave, what are they basing this on? And he said, well, stand by, I'll get that answer. So it took about 15 minutes. He came back and he said, they've looked at it and it's no worse than any tile damage we've seen previously. And I said, well, Dave, I've been here since before STS-1 and I've never seen anything like this. Now, where I went wrong was I gave up. I said, okay, but you guys are the experts, because it had been considered to be a bad thing to do to argue with Mission Control. Well, I should have argued with Mission Control.
Yeah, it's a bad thing to do.
So I didn't argue with him, but we didn't believe him. And the night before reentry, I don't know if it was Mike that was looking out the window or somebody on the cruise said something about being a little nervous for the reentry. And I said, hey, come on, you might as well relax. No sense in dying all tensed up. So the next day during reentry, I was watching the elevons all the way down. Because I knew what I'd see. If we started to burn through on the right wing, we'd see the left elevon going down to balance the drag. So the right elevon would be coming up, the left elevon would be going down. And I knew that if I saw that start to happen, I might have 30 seconds to tell Mission Control what I thought of them. And so all the way down on the audio, and I have the audio tape, not with me, but I have the audio tape that finally got released as well. About every 2 minutes, I would announce, guys, the other ones look good, all the way down. And so we made it. When we got on the ground, they swarmed the right side of our orbiter. And I actually got asked at one point, holy smokes, why didn't you guys tell us about this? And I remember saying to the lead flight director, we did tell you, why didn't you listen? And so, I mean, I've used this as an example. Well, you know, it's funny, Steve Hawley, when he was deputy chief, used to tell me, Hooter, don't be disappointed. Nobody's ever completely worthless. You can always serve as a bad example. So I use this as a bad example of how not to be communicating. Okay, you can be talking and not communicating. I think we were communicating when I said I'm seeing a lot of tile damage. And Mission Control, unfortunately, did not communicate back with us. They should have told us what they were thinking. So one of the lessons from this is it's important to say what you're thinking when you're trying to communicate.
I want to just add one comment here. The group that harkens to STS 103, Columbia burning up. There were two lessons that could have been taken away from STS 27 referencing the thermal protection system. One was that STS 27 proved that the thermal protection system is very robust. It can take a licking and still keep working. The other lesson was that STS 27 proved the vulnerability of our thermal protection system to debris, falling debris. In my opinion, looking back on it, I think most of us took away lesson one, that it proved the thermal protection system was robust. There should have been much greater, we should have taken away lesson two, that it was vulnerable, and it should have been much more curiosity about what that, the damage occurred because of the tip in the right side solid rocket booster failing and shotgunning our heat shield. That damage started just aft of the carbon nose cap and stopped just forward of the carbon wing covers. Those are the areas that see the hottest temperatures on reentry, and it turns out they're very brittle. And that's what brought down Columbia. It was hit on the left wing. I suggest I left, I meant the right wing. But Columbia was hit on the left wing by one of the pieces of foam, and that punched a hole in it. And I really look back on it, we should have been much more diligent and curiosity about how vulnerable the heat shield was. Just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
All right.